I'm going to show you how to take an object, a photograph of an object, get it into Blender, and then get it into your game. What you're going to need is a program called Meshroom. It's a free open source program. The first thing you're going to do is take a series of photographs of the object. You're going to need, like this is just a little head that I sculpted in about 30 minutes. You're going to need like a couple side photographs, a front, the other side, bottom view, and a top view. Now you can make an entire 3D object by doing all the way around. That's fine too. I just needed the face, so I didn't take all them photos. So this is what I got here. Once you load Meshroom, you'll take those photographs and you'll drag them into here under images. These are all the steps that the program takes. I've already pre-rendered this to save time. It can take 5 to 15 minutes depending on how many pictures you got. This took about 5 minutes. You save your file. If you want to, reload it later for whatever reason. And then hit start. And it'll go through all these steps. And what you'll end up with, I turn this grid and this gimbal off so you can see better. You'll see your cameras where they were positioned. And you'll see like the point cloud that it made. Double click texture and then hide structure from motion, and it'll hide that point cloud, and you can get an idea if this is going to work for you or not. If you like what you see and you want to go from there, come down to output folder, output mesh, copy that location, go to it, and you'll see a texture file, an OBJ file, and a material file. Then the next thing you're going to do is load Blender. Now I'll put a link in the description to where you can download the template to convert the object to Beam. So go into File, Import. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Open the template file that you download, the Blender template to Beam. This icon here is to see the shading. Go ahead and delete that box. Over here, delete bounds, delete object 400, object 150, delete the collision mesh, detail 900, detail 350, and billboard. So what you're left with is base 0, 0, collision 1, and start 1. Now you don't need the template if you know how to name all this and put them in these little groups and subgroups. Alright, so once you got that, you go to Import, Wavefront OBJ, because that's what Meshroom saves it as. Go to the location where It saved it. Import OBJ. Now, it may show you, if you have this ball selected, it may just show you, or wireframe, it'll show you the wireframe, but that's the one. Viewport shading is the one that can show you better what it looks like once it's imported into Blender. Now, since I did not take all the photographs like in a 360-degree view, my mesh is missing a lot of sections. Now, to clean it up, because you really don't want to import something like that into your game, but go into edit mode, hey, this damn thing is, this template's got this stuff where it's edit mode. Damn it. Turn on X-ray, and with your select box selected, select what you want to delete. Right click, delete vertices, delete all the vertices that you don't want to import into your game. And go back into object mode, and I try to like get the thing like kind of over there, so when I import it, it's not in some crazy place in the game. Now, I don't know if this is necessary. I do this with everything just to make sure everything's covered, but I go into the object and I set the origin to geometry, and like that kind of like makes it so if you want to rotate everything, it's kind of like on an axis that's centered to your object. Then you'll want to come into what over here to add a modifier. If I want to go over here to decimate, and you'll see this has 131,000 polygons. Now, I think the most I've got into the game before it crashed was like 300,000, but you really don't need this many polys to represent your thing in the game. I usually you can try different ones, but like 0.3, that'll get you down 39,000. That's not bad, and it still looks the same basically. Once you do that, go to object, convert to mesh. That'll apply the decimate to it. Object, transform, apply all transforms. Alright, now the next thing is the texture is called Texture Atlas 1. And that's what Beam will look for. They have a new texture cooker for the editor, so I'll just call this relic, because I mean it's like a relic you find, something like that. You call it whatever you want. Relic dot color, since this is going to be just the color map, and it'll be a PNG file. See there? That's your base color texture. It's still saying texture 10. Well, that's what Meshroom calls it. So let me do this real quick. Find your track level. Like I call my space track crater. Because if you hit the Earth from space, it would make a crater, kind of in real life. Find your texture 101. Rename it to relic.color or whatever dot color, and copy that map into your level, so it's in there where your level is. I just have it in the main folder. Just copy it into there and go back to Blender. relic.color.fong, PNG, whatever. Alright, hold down shift, move this to start one, and then just left click and drag to start one. Or maybe you can just left click and drag. You want to get this into the start one. Then you're going to with it selected, object, duplicate object. If you end up moving it, just hit escape, double click on the copy and name it this. This will be your collision mesh. Without it, you'll just drive right through it, or it won't collide with it, which is fine if you want to make something that you go through on your level. You don't need a collision mesh, but you have to make sure they're both in the start one. Also do this one additional step. I don't know if it's necessary, but I go to clean up, purge all, and it just purges anything that's not, I guess, necessary that might be in the buffer or something like that. I just do that. It deletes some data blocks and stuff. To get it into your game, export Collida DAE and navigate over to your track and call this whatever you want to call it. But this is what you'll look for inside the game. I'll just call this something different. Since I've already made this, just name it something different. Export Collida. Exported 5 objects. Next thing, load your game up. Find your custom level, load it up. I thought I turned that off. Guess I didn't. Alright, once you get your level loaded, go into the editor. Now my level takes it a while to load, get all that stuff in the background done. But once you get your game back and you can do anything. Damn, I gotta figure out what's making it do that. Damn, come on now. Here we go. Go up to your asset browser, all models, and then scroll down to find your 3D model. Relic. Left click, drag, and there it is. Now, here's the crazy thing. You can scale this inside the editor, but then the collision map won't work. For whatever reason, I don't know. So anything you want to do to make this larger before you get it into the game, you do it inside of Blender. Like before you duplicated your object, you'll just scale it to whatever size you want it, and then go to Object. After you do that, apply all transforms, and then duplicate your object like as earlier, and call it collision mesh. One, and export it, Collida DAE, into your creator folder, your custom level folder, whatever you got it called. So yeah, exported 5 objects. So let me show you. So now in the asset browser, find the one you just scaled. Did I save it in the right damn spot? Relic 5. Yeah, there it is. See, larger. Turn this sound off. I think that one. Where's that? There we go. All right. Then once you get it in there, go to Edit, Rebuild Collision, and that will pretty much set it in stone. Yeah, I stuck that face on Mars back there and assigned the same texture that the planet used. I also bored a hole through it, drive through it. So we got our new object. I did, didn't I? Oh, good. Oh, make this damn video again. Thought I missed a step somewhere. Here's one more thing you can do. You can assign depth maps, like a normal map to it. I use this program called GIMP. It's another free program. I'll show you how to do that real quick. Find your texture in your folder. Remember we called it relic.color. Load it up. Apply the ping offset to the layer. This is the texture map that Meshroom made. Go up here to filters, generic, normal map. This is the depth of the map, how deep it looks, how much it looks 3D. Hit OK. File, export as, and you'll want to name this whatever you name it. Put dot normal dot png in there where the model's saved at in your custom level. And then in your game, go back to your level editor, select your model, go to material editor, it's not got the right texture on it. Sometimes you'll load it up, it'll just be red. It won't have any texture. It'll say no texture. Just a new material name it relic.color. That was the first one you made. Create. Go to color map. Find the relic.color. And then for the normal map, the 3D map, find relic.normal. Save it. And if this happens to you and you do all this and your model is still red, just save the level, close the game, reload the game, reload your level, and it'll be fixed. Sometimes I don't know what the problem is, but sometimes when you export stuff into the game, sometimes the textures work like a charm. Sometimes you have a red object and you have to manually make a new material for that object. Why? I don't know. If your object is big enough that it has 3 or 4 textures, you need to make a new material and name it to all of the texture, or you need to make one for all the textures. now it's got the 3D map on it. Why it does that, I don't know. Maybe somebody knows. I'd like to know why it works sometimes and why sometimes you have to manually do it, but if your model has several textures, you'll need to make a new material for every one of them. Get this thing a second. And you'll know if it's got more. You'll know if it's got more than one texture because the folder that Meshroom exports it to, you'll see they'll be numbered. Texture underscore 001, 002, 003, and so forth. And you know you're going to have to rename them to whatever dot color, whatever dot color, whatever dot color, whatever you want to dot color. But they'd have to, you know, something different for each one. And when you're in Blender, you'll basically you'll see in Blender when you import it, you'll see all those maps in there. I probably should have made something that had all them so you could see a lot easier how to do it. It's kind of difficult to explain it without showing you. I'm going to make another video where I'll show you how to take scenery from Google Earth Pro and bring it into your game. I'll make a big enough image, a big enough model that it'll have to use like several textures and show you how. And I'll probably get the red texture, no texture error. But I'll show you how to come into here and say you want to, whatever you want really. You can just take anything and using the same method with Meshroom by taking screenshots instead of pictures with your camera. You know, you'll just go around and take several screenshots and of whatever it is you want to put into the game, convert it in Meshroom, then into Blender, then into the game, and that'll be something that depending on how big the thing is. Like for example, I made a Niagara Falls thing. It had like 5 texture maps, and all 5 were red inside of the game. I had to manually do that. But see, Beam just introduced that new texture cooker. It's supposed to make all the PNG files the DDS format. I'll show you here. This is more efficient. It save on memory, save on texture size, all that. There it is, texture cooker. This is what I was talking about earlier, where everything you name that's a color map, it gets a dot color, and anything that's like a 3D map, like a normal map, it's going to get a dot normal. And this is an automatic conversion that takes place in the game. I mean, it ain't something you have to load. You don't have to load texture cooker. This is just the extra step that made this video more difficult to explain with the damn textures because of that new naming thing. but if you've already made like a level, like in my case, I'm working on this level and I got all kinds of crap that's got different textures, like Corona.png. Like I'm supposed to go into like the now go back into the folder of the game. I mean, my level where my level's at, and rename all these. And I'll show you how the editor is supposed to do this in the background. Uh, that texture is rename it dot color. Then where's it at? Relic? No, Corona.color. See, importing texture. So this is what the new feature in this last update is doing. Failed to create resource color.dds, Corona.color. See, that this is a problem. I don't know if it's just me or if this is a problem with everybody. It's going to happen, but anyway, that's the reason for the new naming of the files. But I mean, your game will still work with all the other files named the way you got them, like this JPEG and all the other stuff. You can. It doesn't matter. It'll still work. Maybe this is a bug, or maybe it's just something to do with something else. I don't know. But anyways. That's how you get your object into the game. That's when I scaled even larger. And you see, I stuck it on this planet. I bet if anybody's interested in how to to fly through something, you can do that with anything basically. Like a mountain, for example, like I was saying, you can import with Google Maps. But anyway, I think this is going to be all for this one.